Good morning from a lovely sunny Manchester, everybody. This is Forever United TV. I'm Adam, and we are back. The transfer window reopened this morning, and it is time to get some transfers done. Please, Manchester United. Anyway, we have got updates on the Bryan Mbeumo situation. That is our top story today, and where we're at with that one as well. An update on Victor Gyokeres from Romano last night. Do you even believe him anymore? Updates on Garnacho, Rashford, Højlund, Xerxes, Ekitike, and more. All jam-packed into your Monday morning show. Everybody piles in on a Monday to get the week started. I've got you completely covered, whether you're having your breakfast, on the school run, on your way to work. Stay tuned, get comfortable, sit back, relax. I'll get you fully up to date with everything is at this morning, everybody. Hello and welcome. Wherever you're watching in the world, let me know. Get into the live chat. Give me your comments on everything. We are prioritising what's necessary this morning. And what's necessary is obviously what is real. And everything else that we have heard about regarding Gyokeres, regarding other deals that could possibly happen for Manchester United, haven't really got anywhere near where we are with Bryan Mbeumo. And that, I think, is the most important thing of all. With the window reopening now, that 6-day gap in between with the Club World Cup starting over the weekend, really don't care. To be honest, it's going to take me a lot to try and get involved in that competition. And again, looking at the teams that are in it, I'm no disrespect to the European teams, of course, but still, like, it just looks like a money spinner for FIFA again, and I'm still not anywhere near ready to be watching that football. But it has had an impact on the transfer window, as we know, and this is why June has been pretty crazy for Manchester United. And yesterday, Bryan Mbeumo was actually talking about his future, about Thomas Frank, about everything that was going on. One thing that wasn't asked was very, very important. Now, you may watch Formula One, you may watch that pit lane and how interviews are conducted. It happens all the time, and there are some weird interviews that are thrown up in them pit lanes. But one thing that Martin Blundell of Sky Sports' crew there on Formula One on Sky does is always ask the awkward questions. He always gets in it. But he's got nothing to do with football at all. But he always has a little thing where he actually goes in and asks really awkward questions and puts people on the spot. And it happens all of the time. It's strange. And I don't know, this is maybe just me looking into this bit on this one, but did anyone else think it was weird that the question about his future at Manchester United wasn't brought up, and why he was speaking in such detail? Because whenever anyone's walking down that pit lane, they're always walking, and the interview is going as they're walking. Bryan Mbeumo stops for a good couple of minutes to talk to Blundell and go through everything that's happening, talking about Thomas Frank, wishing him well in the future, and basically saying he will do well at Spurs. Distancing himself. Now, the way that this deal is broken down, everybody under the sun has tried to make a headline out of nothing. Everybody has tried to pile in on something that could happen that isn't going to happen with Bryan Mbeumo not going to Manchester United. Every single journalist that every single journalist that doesn't have much credibility, in my opinion, has tried to jump in and try and make something of this when there is nothing there to be made. And now, if something was going to happen with Bryan Mbeumo and the stage that Manchester United are at and the price that's been set with Brentford right now, it would have already happened. It would have already started to materialise. A bid would have gone in, and with the state of Manchester United and where we're at financially, there would have been no chance that United would have still been negotiating with Bryan Mbeumo right now. And so it has been made very clear. The message from Bryan Mbeumo, now as this deal enters the final stages of negotiations, as we know it is quite clear. He is going to Manchester United unless they don't want him, i.e. somebody else comes in and makes a bid substantially higher than Manchester United and we walk away. That's it. That's the stance, and that's what we know for certain, and they're facts right now with everything that has been said. That's the only thing that we should be concentrating on. Nobody has come in. Nobody's bid more than where Manchester United are at right now with Brentford. Brentford, if they got a bid higher than Manchester United, would have negotiated. This is normal. And Bryan Mbeumo has made it clear he wants to go to United until they're out of the race. And so Man United are definitely not out of the race. And this week we know I don't think it's necessarily just because the transfer window is open. I think we know this week with that message from Mbeumo where he is at, his mind is made up, and the talks that are continuing with Manchester United. Other clubs have sort of hovered around the idea of coming in for Bryan Mbeumo, mainly made up, like I just said. But right now we're at the stage where it's that last couple of million for Manchester United to negotiate on that first payment, and that's what's going to be negotiated this week, and hopefully we will get a big outcome. We know what the outcome will be. It'll be a yes or a no, but hopefully we get a big update on this situation this week. But I think it was quite clear with Blundell not asking certain questions, him talking about Frank, wishing him well in the future. I think it was made very, very clear that Bryan Mbeumo has only got eyes for Manchester United. We're hearing, and there's a few people reading the story that there is more talks being held today. I think there's talks every bleeding day with Man United and Brentford. I don't think that's such significant news in this and where we're actually at. But the window being open does obviously give clubs the opportunity to officially make signings this week, and I don't even know if that is going to push United into negotiating harder or pushing this further down the line. I don't actually know where it's actually at in terms of what's been agreed so far. Obviously, we just know that there is that final decision to be made on that first payment for Man United and Bryan Mbeumo. And with everything that's going on with Victor Gyokeres, with everything that's happening with Manchester United and that saga, and where we're at now with Ekitike, Manchester United have got the chance and the opportunity now just to fully concentrate this week on getting Mbeumo over the line and done, because Ruben wants him in before pre-season training, and another weekend goes by, another weekend closer. The fixtures are out on Wednesday for the Premier League. The League Cup game is out. Players are back into pre-season training in a couple of weeks' time, and everything is moving very, very fast now. So we're expecting something big to happen announcement-wise, hopefully this week now, with Bryan Mbeumo and Manchester United. That needs to start moving towards the back end, because obviously if United are, well, they're not fanning off opposition at the moment. Bryan Mbeumo is making it clear about how long will he wait until this deal is done. It's not a question that's been brought up yet. So is he getting impatient? Does he want to be involved in pre-season and at a new club and it all sorted before everything kicks off again? I think that's where we're actually at right now. It's like looking at Bryan Mbeumo's stance on this. He's made it clear where he wants to go. We're now 2 weeks into negotiations. And I think we'd expect something to come out in the news this week. We've got to. Otherwise, I think United are well aware of where the fan base is at and what's actually happening right now. Obviously, off the back of that shocker of a season last season, you've got people like Victor Gyokeres coming out and saying that he is looking at Arsenal and prioritising their situation because of Champions League. Other strikers, because of the Champions League. We could have had 3 players in right now if Man United were in the Champions League. So fans are waiting. Fans are actually, they're waiting for Ineos to do something. Now, there was a good report from ESPN over the weekend that nobody looked at because they were looking for the bigger news, which was Victor Gyokeres and what was happening with him. But in that report, it was how Manchester United have actually made headroom in their finances to go out and buy Bryan Mbeumo. So the fee and everything involved in it is not a problem for Manchester United. It's not a problem at all. They will pay the price that Brentford want. It's how they pay it and how long they pay it over. And it is that initial first payment, which is the last thing to be discussed right now. And that, I think, is what will be finalised this week, hopefully. There's nothing else that can be done, really, to prolong this deal. There's nothing else to negotiate at all, going off what everybody says. 2 full weeks into this deal now and negotiations and where we're at, and I think it will come to a head this week. I think we will get our decisions this week, and obviously we're going to be into the depths of the transfer window now. It is open all the way through until September the 1st, so we're expecting a lot to happen. But Manchester United's stance on Mbeumo has been very, very clear. They will not be taken over the top from what their valuation is. They have met the valuation, so that's not even the question at the moment. It's just the tiny little details of how much initial payments and future payments are for Brentford's Bryan Mbeumo, and this deal will get done. And I think the interview yesterday is quite clear from the player's side of things. He knows where he wants to be. He knows where he's going. Thank you, Thomas Frank, was the message. On you go. And good luck in the future. I think that's what you can clearly say is the message from that little interview that he did yesterday. But then all of the other reports about United now going into these next stages and more meetings being held over the next couple of days, you're expecting something to come out. And I think everybody is just waiting now for this. And and everything else is just in place, ready to go for the announcement for Manchester United. I think we're going to be getting... I've said this before, and I've tripped myself up by saying I expect a here we go quite soon with this one, but nobody expected the last bits of negotiations regarding this opening payment to take so long, I don't think. So, yeah, I think with this now, I mean, what else is there to discuss? We are literally talking £1 to £2 million here in initial first payments. That's what's being reported. So I can't see that lasting a week of negotiating, surely. And again, going back to what was said at the start and what everybody is saying in the media right now, Man United want to get deals done as quickly as possible. And this one, I think, now will be concluded. And again, two players signed in June, for me, is very good business for Manchester United, especially of the quality of what they are. So I'm hoping, I think every other Man United fan is hoping now that this gets finished off this week and we can now move forward and look into the Ekitike/Victor Gyokeres side of things. Going to move on to that one next, but give me your thoughts on the whole Bryan Mbeumo side of things, everybody, in terms of how long this has taken. Have you been frustrated by this deal? Have you been frustrated by how long it has taken? Has it taken that long? And how important is Bryan Mbeumo to Manchester United this transfer window? Block with a super chat straight out of the box. Thank you very much, my man. That's an absolute mega one. It's June 16th. That means that it's my birthday. You, Kaz, and the fam have a drink on me. Loving the content, mate. It's usually the other way around, mate. We're supposed to get you a drink. It's your birthday. But everybody pile into the chat and wish Block, one of our long-serving members here on Forever United TV, a massive happy birthday, mate. I'm not even going to ask you how old you are. That's just not fair, mate. But have a great day. Right off the back of Father's Day, back-to-back days for you. Oh, I remember that comment you made yesterday. Some for sale, mate. You better be looking after you today, anyway. Adele, welcome, mates, and thank you for that. Greetings from Egypt. And Bumo will be a Man United player, I have no doubts. Really concerned about the striker and goalkeeper and defensive midfield situation, though. Updates on all three of them in a minute, actually, mate. So stay tuned. But thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. And Bumo, here we go. Come on, says Wayne. I'm with you, mate. And I do think it will be this week. I really do think that movement will. Oh, God. I said this last time. I don't even want to trip myself up. Loads of people had a go at me for saying that the here we go is coming soon. I'm just reading the room and reading what's happening, and that were my thoughts. I didn't know that this was going to happen with this initial payment hold-up with Bryan Mbeumo, but it does look good. That's all I'll say. I mean, no. Thank you, mate, again. Adam, why are you not talking about player sales? Oh, mate, I will be doing. And that is coming up, my friend. It's coming up. I don't want to give it all away just yet. But, yeah, it doesn't read as well as the incoming side of things for Manchester United. Put it that way, mates. But thanks for the super chat, buddy. And Thomas said happy birthday to Block on his 18th month renewal of his membership of Forever United TV, which is pretty damn good. Thank you again, all them super chats. Keep everything flying into the comment section, everybody. Make sure that you get your thoughts across in here as well. And Bumo is frustrating when put in context of the Scousers, 115 charges, players quickly. 15 signings. Scousers and 150. Oh, sorry. Right, Gricker. Talking about Man City there, mate. Yes. Well, in reality, not really. They're in Champions League. They've got a lot more money to spend with PSR than Man United. City are also in the Club World Cup, so they can spend a lot and bring players in very quickly. You'd expect that. United to have brought one in and be pretty much nearly done with another. I still think he's okay, Gricker, to be honest. If it starts to creep towards July, like I said, then I'll start to get a little frustrated myself. But I don't see it going that way. And Bumo would be class. What a player, says Jonathan. Leo says, no, Adam, we don't need another 80 mil kid striker. Is he a kid, though? He's 22. That's fully grown, mate. That is fully grown. 2 years now in the Bundesliga, playing 2 years in the first team, helping them get to the Champions League this season. Third best team in the Bundesliga. And that was with losing Mamouche in January as well. It's not the kid that everybody's thinking about. It's not. Let's see what else we've got in here before we move on. All right, so let's get moving on, shall we, with everything else that is going on around Manchester United. Fabrizio Romano came out again last night with another update on Victor Gyokeres. God's sake. Like, honestly, right now, This is a really interesting situation regarding Victor Gyokeres, because I asked the same question last night. And if you weren't there last night, I asked this question. And you can get right into the comment section now and answer this one. He's frustrated because his preferences have been made public. I can understand that, because now everybody knows that his preference is Arsenal. And if Arsenal fails, what is he going to do? What, with that information now, would you accept? Would you still take Victor Gyokeres in at Manchester United if he turned it around and said, I want to go United? Would you still accept him after what you know? That was the question I posed last night, and a few people did comment on that. If you haven't already, give your thoughts on that. Tell me in the chat right now. Would you still take Gyokeres knowing that he would prefer Arsenal over Manchester United? And that's if Arsenal don't make that move happen, because they want to go for Sesko by all accounts right now, and that is looking more favourable. And where does Gyokeres go past that point? Should United go into him, in for him, simply because he is probably one of the cheapest strikers we can probably get this window right now? Let's see. Happy birthday, it says Henry. Sorry, happy birthday, Henry. It's Henry's birthday and Block's birthday in one video. Wow, Henry, if it is your birthday, mates, happy birthday, my friends. I didn't know it was both of you today. Two of our biggest members here on Forever United TV. Get into the chat and wish them both a happy birthday, everybody. Absolutely brilliant. Watched the Porto game last night and had a good watch of Richard Rios. Looks like a great addition. Proper box-to-box midfielder. Think Man United should stick a bid in for him. We are interested in him. There is a big interest. He is seen as a dream signing for Manchester United, but he's going to cost a fair old chunk of Man United's finances this summer. And there was an interview with Rich Fay last night who said that there is no finances available pretty much for Man United's midfield. And that has to come down to sales, which we are struggling with, which we're also going to move on to in a moment. So that, I think, is where Manchester United now are going to... Well, this is where the transfer window is really going to show its teeth. Manchester United. Well, it's been a good start. I've got a little feeling that this part of the window now, July through to the end, might not be as fruitful for Manchester United. Might be a little bit more frustrating for Manchester United fans in particular. I'm hoping that I'm wrong, but just reading the room and what I'm going to get into in a moment is definitely how I see this and what's happening right now. So Gyokeres is not off the table, says Romano. He is still an option for Manchester United, and if the opportunity comes around, they will sign him. That's according to Fabrizio. So I don't know. Man United at the moment have moved away. I personally feel United won't go back in for him because I don't see the Victor Gyokeres saga. I don't think it's going to end for him personally. Maybe for Arsenal it will end very soon. I think we're going to find out exactly what happens with Gyokeres this week now, because Arsenal have got to make a call on their striker targets. And like I said, like these teams that are properly organised and want to make a real go of proper pre-season. Let's not forget the importance of this summer. Ruben's talked about it, Arteta, all the other bigger managers have talked about it. These teams are going to get, unless you're in the Club World Cup, that is, these teams are going to get a full pre-season. This is the best chance that these managers have had to get a squad together, to get their players in and get everybody on pre-season fully ready to go for the start of the season. This is a very rare opportunity over the last few years for clubs to actually be in a comfortable position going into the season. And so they want to get their deals done. I keep going on and banging on about it like 2 weeks before pre-season starts now, and players are back in training. This is massive. And players want it. Players want to know what's happening. The agents obviously are pushing on that. The managers are desperate. Look, Ruben Amorim is going to be back, I'm guessing, in and around Carrington in the next week, I think, going off what has been reported. He's had his little break. He's ready to go. He said he doesn't need a rest. I fully expect Ruben and pictures of him in and around Carrington within a week's time at least. Well, we're still in June, preparing for his season. He'll be wanting these players in, and he'll be wanting answers from that Manchester United recruitment team as to what is happening now and where we're actually going and where Manchester United's targets are actually at. He will want players in for pre-season. Every other club will as well. Arsenal will make a decision on Sesko. What will that mean then for Gyokeres? How far down the line will Man United be in communications with Hugo Ekitike, who said he would be open to moving to Manchester United, which is a big green flag for Manchester United because they want to buy players and invest in players that are interested in and sort of invested in the project of Manchester United, not just what competitions we're in. If Man United get win, like I said yesterday, of Hugo Ekitike, who has got Champions League football right now, who's got the pick of every other Champions League football club in Europe right now, already there to go, and wants to come to Man United, who've got no European football, that is the biggest yes for Manchester United's recruitment team that you could get. And that, for me, would make Manchester United go all out for him. And I've said this before, don't be put off by the price tag. 80 million doesn't mean anything in PSR. 80 million means less than 20 million a year in instalments for Manchester United with the wages. That's what that means. So don't be put off by the price tag. It doesn't matter what the player is worth at all. I've explained this so many times. People keep bringing up 85 mil, 85 mil. Look, United will get that down. There's no way that they're going to get 85 million for him. There will be a compromise in there, and the package will come together. It all depends what happens with Arsenal and Gyokeres, whether that scuppers it or not. And Ruben being back, and Ruben, obviously, he will be communicating with Wilcox, with Vival, Berardi, and everything that's going on while he's on his holiday. But when he comes back, you know that he's going to start stepping things up. And then them questions are going to start being asked. And it's like, right, okay, we cannot get Ekitike. I want this striker in. What happens with Victor? Can we get that deal done? And then you can start talking whether you think it's right or wrong regarding the situation about Champions League and only buying players that are fully invested in Manchester United. Why would Man United be interested in Victor Gyokeres? And why would Romano saying what he's saying actually be right if we're going with what Berardi and what Ruben Amorim have already said? We're not going to buy players that don't want to come to Manchester United, that want to come to Man United for the Champions League. We're not just going to buy players for that reason. Why would United go back in for Gyokeres? It makes no sense at all going off what's been said. And that's going to be a question that a lot of Man United fans actually bring up, I feel, going forward into this one, especially if it does develop along the lines with Victor Gyokeres. I think this week is going to be absolutely massive for Manchester United, I feel, in terms of the news and the updates regarding Gyokeres and Mbeumo. Definitely knowing where we stand with both. It's a yay or a nay in both situations this week, I think, going off what's been said. The pressure on Sporting, Gyokeres, Romano actually said last night that they're expected to get a compromise in the next couple of days between Gyokeres and Sporting. So that, I think, is also something to look out for. If there's clear air and clear water with the club and Victor Gyokeres, then that transfer becomes easier to negotiate. So let's see what happens with that as well. But a big week for United regarding them two transfers, both in yes and no situations, I feel, as well. I'm pretty certain that Mbeumo will be a yes. Gyokeres, I think, will be, I don't know, is what I'm saying. Is Jonathan David off the table? A best value playing in front of Mbeumo and Cunha? Manny, thanks for the super chat, my friend. I don't know is the honest answer. He is the one dark horse right now in the transfer window, especially in the striker department. There is nothing at all out there regarding Manchester United linked with Jonathan David. Believe me, I've searched. Apart from old news, Jonathan David's situation is not going to be known until July 1st. His contract ends on June 30th and he is a free agent. And the free agent market and the contract market then takes on its next year, and that's when the next financial year starts as well. So Jonathan David as a free agent, we will know, I think, in 2 weeks' time. But where will United be by then? In 2 weeks' time, would we have made significant progress with one of these strikers that we're currently talking to? That's the question in all of this. So again, if Jonathan David is available, can United pivot across to him? I don't know. I actually think that Jonathan David already knows where he's going. And we're not going to find out until July 1st, but I think he already knows. We would have heard something surely, but he made it very clear, Jonathan David, that he was not going to rush his decision. He has his options there in front of him, and he's going to do whatever works best for him. So again, I think that will come down to what happens on July 1st, and I think he already knows. I don't think it's United. I don't think he's on our radar. I mean, well, he's on the radar, but I don't think he's anywhere near close to what the other strikers are. It's Hugo Ekitike off the back of the news that we spoke about last night. That's the one to watch right now. Because of reasons that I've just explained. Ekitike would come to United without Champions League football. That would be something that United do make happen. I'm telling you right now. Moving on, Garnacho's price tag. Into the outgoing section, everybody, and our full updates. Quickly on this, Manchester United have made it clear that they are not selling Joshua Zirkzee. Now, that for me leads into the Rasmus Højlund situation by letting a striker go. Now, the situation reads with Joshua Zirkzee, he has been seen as a target for several Italian clubs, obviously where he did well for Bologna under Motta. I think that's the appeal for Joshua Zirkzee right now. But Manchester United, and the word coming out from us, is that Joshua Zirkzee isn't going anywhere right now. United are happy for him to stay. He's only 1 year in. And I think United, even though they've come out with that big statement, every player is for sale, nobody's going to be giving Man United enough money to let them, or even make them think of letting Joshua Zirkzee go, I don't think. It's going to have to be somewhere upwards of 35 million for Zirkzee. Has he done enough for that? He's not overly priced, Zirkzee. So you would always say there was a chance with him in leaving this transfer window, but not right now is the word coming out from the club. I think Manchester United are happy with him and the progress he made. And he is way, way down the list of players that they want to release. Even though it would be easier for someone to meet Man United's valuation of him rather than the likes of Rasmus Højlund. But I feel like they're comfortable in saying that they want to keep Joshua Zirkzee because they need a backup forward. And the backup forward would be because we are selling Rasmus Højlund. Now that's like we spoke about yesterday. I think putting them both together, them stories both together. So Corriere dello Sport were reporting that Joshua Zirkzee is staying at United, and interested clubs have been told by Manchester United that he is not for sale. Someone's going to have to come in big. So don't get me wrong. If someone comes in and says there's 45 million for Joshua Zirkzee, Man United will sell him like that because you're making profits and you've made room in the squad. And they will use that money. That is key for Manchester United. If someone comes in and says, we're going to give you 45 million for Zirkzee, then they will sell him. I'm confident they will. But no one will come in with that money. Not with the uncertainty of his first season. I know the United fans and people at United would see the little improvements that he was making bit by bit. I think that is key in all of this. And I think we can actually see why we'd keep Zirkzee. I would rather have Zirkzee over Rasmus Højlund every day of the week. I just think he's got more character. I think he's got more qualities. I think he can actually hold the ball up. I think he's better in front of goal. I think he's got an eye for goal. I don't think that Rasmus has got them qualities. So the story from yesterday was that Inter Milan have made a proposal to Rasmus Højlund. He has accepted that proposal. And this deal now, according to Italy, by the way, is now moving closer with an obligation loan in place. Talking of obligation loans, this is what Real Betis are offering Manchester United in the Antony situation and then negotiations that have been going on this week. I talked about it yesterday. I've done some more digging. It is an obligation after another season's loan for Antony. How they do that? There is another way that they're trying to negotiate a deal here within player rights and some form of loophole within La Liga's financial rules on what they can do, Real Betis. Complicated as hell. But all you need to know is that Real Betis are bending over backwards to try and make any deal possible for Antony to go to Real Betis again this season. And that, I don't know where we're at with it or what the conversation has been. Just that they are giving absolutely everything. But there is a loophole to buy him this season, as in this summer. And then there is another option for them with an obligation. Whether United will make more money off the obligation and what they will save off Antony's wages, upwards of what, I think it's close 12 to 15 million a season in wages, bonuses, loan fees. What can we make anything happen for Antony on that side of things? All of that is being negotiated in right now. And we'll see what happens with that. But that's where we're at with Antony. Zirkzee isn't going anywhere, according to reports this morning. But maybe that's because Rasmus Højlund is edging closer to Inter Milan. All of that is being discussed right now. A couple of super chats in, mega super chats in as well. Thank you, everyone who has already put in a super chat this morning. I love that. Thank you, Simon, for this one. It's a four-way tactical chess game, me between Arsenal, Sporting, Man United and RB Leipzig with Gyokeres, Sesko and Osimhen stuck in the middle. We just needed patience and to stay calm. I think we've done the right thing in just moving away from Gyokeres. Let that situation deal with itself. And then if anything comes of it, maybe United do go back in. I don't know where I would stand after that, but we will see what developments bring over this week, I think, with Gyokeres. But Simon, you bang on. There is a game of chess being played between 3 different clubs here. RB Leipzig have got a big part to play in this, a massive part to play in this, I feel. So when you look at their stance with Sesko holding out, they're obviously going to want replacements coming in as well. But no Champions League football for them means that they definitely will be selling Sesko this summer. And it's down to them and Arsenal to get a deal done. Arteta prefers Sesko. Arsenal prefer Gyokeres. United can't get any until Arsenal make their decision. Do we even want the seconds of Arsenal? It's the decision that United have to make. And that's why Ekitike has come in. Osimhen, I feel right now, is off the table completely because of his wage demands. United will not go there. And that keeps on coming up with every single journalist and every interview and every question asked to anyone in the know regarding Osimhen, is that his wages are just too high for Man United to even consider. Ekitike, 35 goals in 110 games at 4 clubs. No, 4 clubs, Ant, really? You have dug out something there that's not there. He's only been playing first-team football for 2 seasons, and the majority of them goals have come in then. Are you really going to judge him on his season in PSG? Are you really going to go there? Look, mate, I get what you're saying. You can make stats work for whatever you want. You can try and drive your own sort of narrative with whatever you want with stats. You could always argue what, at the same age, Victor Gyokeres did. And that's something easily that you could do. Because let's be honest, at the stage that Ekitike is right now, he's way more advanced than what Gyokeres was at the same age. And we could easily come back and say that as well, mate. Look, I get what you're saying with the numbers, and it's a risk. It's a massive, massive risk for bringing him in, like every player. But there are flaws in Gyokeres' game as well that might not work well in the Premier League. You just don't know. And we have to trust, sadly, they've done all right so far, I think, the recruitment team at United, but we have to trust what they are looking at. Ekitike, I don't think, is as bad as what people are making out, just because he is a young player again. He's going to be turning 23 this season. He's had a lot more, I feel, first-team action than anyone that we have seen or brought in that we're concerned about. And we're talking about Rasmus Højlund here. Everyone's going to make the comparison to Rasmus Højlund all the time, and I don't think it's necessarily fair on him. I can see a rotating false 9 role shared between Cunha and Bumo and Xerxes. They can all play 9. That's my front 3 in line of a striker. That could work under Ruben. There is no false 9 in Ruben's system, though. That's why he plays the 2 10s. He's going to get a striker, mate. He will get a striker. Honestly, the talk of Schick coming in, something like that. A striker will come into Manchester United this summer. They need a number 9. Morning to you as well, Daniel. Thank you for renewing that membership. 16 months. That is absolutely mega. Absolutely mega. And again, it's with Gyokeres and the decision on the striker. Before we move on again, it comes down to what Ruben and Omar Barada said. I said it a moment ago. Like, they have said that no player comes to Manchester United that is just coming for the competitions that we're playing in. You have to be fully invested into what we are doing. Otherwise, you don't come to Manchester United. And I look at that and I say that, again, is showing its teeth throughout this window. And I think we're seeing situations develop because of it. Other situations like Osimhen are different. Obviously, that's the wages. But now we're hearing that he actually, and this was last night, we're hearing that actually Osimhen wants to play in the Champions League. Well, I'm sorry, that takes Man United out then, doesn't it? If we're going to go off what everything else. Schick or Boniface, in my opinion. No excuse for keeping Højlund when we have Chido to be an apprentice to a new striker. Chido getting player of the tournament for Denmark under 20s as well. Have you seen that over the weekend? He has definitely shone in the international break, Chido. He is maturing and getting better and better. And United will be looking at him this summer on pre-season as an option going forward. Chido will feature in Man United's first team a lot more, I think, this season. I really do. At the moment, I think he is more dangerous than Rasmus Højlund. And you can make up every single excuse you want as to why not to play Chido right now. His age, experience, he's not ready, it's not fair. All you have to do is look at the necessaries that Manchester United face right now, and Ruben, and that is that they need a striker. And it is clear that already Chido is better than Rasmus Højlund. And I feel, you know what, come by the end of the season, maybe we'll actually see Chido replacing Rasmus Højlund in that Denmark first team. That is a distinct possibility this season, the way that he is going right now. I think we see Chido make his international debut at some point this season as well in one of the international breaks. That's my shout anyway. Cal says, I wish we could buy Ekitike and it would work. It would be great to watch, but I don't see it working with him at United. Here's a question for you, Ekitike. Everyone's worried about what he's going to do, what we need as a striker right now. And we're basing this off an uncertain number 10 system at Manchester United where nobody knew what they were doing under Ruben Amorim. We were talking about that, an ever-changing number 10, a Rasmus Højlund that needed to score goals out of nothing a lot of the time as well in his defence. There wasn't as much created. The quality of Man United's game overall was shocking. And we're worried about Ekitike in a scenario that Rasmus Højlund was in last season. He's not going to have that scenario. If United sign Mbeumo, we've already got Cunha, you've got goals already there. 35 Premier League goals between them two from last season. And chances created up into the high teens between them two as well. You got Bruno behind that now. Ahmad firmly in at right wing back. Is this not a case of us worrying about a similar scenario to last season rather than Ekitike coming into a better Man United side? Are we not looking at this transfer? Should we not be looking, at this transfer window like what we're doing all together rather than an individual player? An individual coming into Man United in last season, I'd be shit scared like everybody else is because there's just no service, there's no rhythm or rhyme, there's players that are just not disciplined. You've got the Garnacho situation, you've got the uncertainty of Mason Mount in and out of the side. Bruno's playing every position under the sun. Ahmad got injured, he's in and out. Rashford fallout. Everything that happened this season has been an absolute disaster, and anybody playing in that team has looked like they're underperforming. There's been a few individual bits of quality for Manchester United fans to cling on to, but when we start this season with a settled team that's had a full pre-season, that's got better players in at number 10 surrounding that number 9 that's coming in, will Ekitike actually do better anyway because he's got a better team? You could argue the point, will Rasmus Højlund do it? But honestly, Rasmus gets chances, and the myth of him not getting any chances is something that I just quash every single time. He misses a shed load of chances, Rasmus Højlund. Manchester United's XG is right up there from last season. We just don't score. We don't score. Ruben knows this. He's getting a number 9. I'm telling you right now, Ruben is all in on a number 9 for Manchester United. 100%. Obviously, it comes down to what players Manchester United sell. And I have sort of swayed away from that. I was wanting to talk about that. We touched on Rasmus Højlund. We touched on Joshua Zirkzee. I'm going to move on to Garnacho now next. You wouldn't want to put a 17-year-old up front and play him 90 minutes all season. It's unfair on him. No, he's not going to play every single game. I do think he'll feature a lot more, though, in Man United's first-team squad this season. Matchday squads, he will be there. I think he's a real option for Man United as a number 2 this season. I do, but let's not forget we've got less games, so that means that there is less chance of him playing. But as a number 2, I think United will pick and choose their moments. Obviously, you still don't want to, and this is where it gets awkward with Chido, you don't want him to lose his momentum in the under-18s or the under-21s. You want him to develop still, and there'll become a point where he cannot just keep sitting him on the bench. Either make a decision, like he comes into United's first team and features regularly enough to keep his progression going because he's going to have to play games, or you bring in 2 strikers, or you commit to it being Zirkzee and another striker that comes in. And then out of desperation at times, if you need him because of injuries, Chido would feature then. Ideally, Chido on loan would be what United need, but right now they can't do anything because it's so uncertain. Thanks for that again, Adele. I really appreciate that super chat, mate. Garnacho, let's move on to him. Manchester United, 70 million quid. And where we're at. He wants to stay in the Premier League. United are not getting 70 million quid for Garnacho. I'm just going to say that now. Garnacho is pushing for the Premier League move. Other clubs are being put off in Europe. Romano was saying last night, again, Leverkusen would take him, but financially cannot afford him. If United are asking for 70 million, then I can see a lot of teams in Europe buckling on that one. Where we're at with Napoli at the moment is still the same. its negotiations have carried on and continued, and we are in a position now where it's going to be United dropping that price enough to do a deal with Napoli and get this over the line. But Napoli won't go any more than 50 million. And that's up for Man United to decide. How far will 50 million pure profit help United this summer? It will help United massively. Garnacho is not a £70 million player. He is not. His market value is not even near that. At the moment, you could argue Garnacho is about a £35 million player in market value. We know he has got the qualities that I feel warrant a £50 million move for Garnacho. I do. But I don't think anybody is getting anywhere near United's price tag for him. I think there'll be a compromise and it comes in. I still feel like Chelsea will sign a forward now that Gittins is off for them. Maresca was doing an interview yesterday at Chelsea and he said they will definitely bring a winger in. So they're in the market. Arsenal are hovering as well. Don't count out Aston Villa with Garnacho on this one. Aston Villa could play a big part in Man United's summer. I'm not talking about Emi Martinez. I know every opportunity I get, I'm going to bring up Emi Martinez because I want him as my goalkeeper. I want him there. It's my own personal. To be honest, another goalkeeper right now would be lovely. I've got an update on the goalkeeping situation actually in a moment. But Garnacho, just to get your thoughts on him, Napoli apparently 45 million add-ons, says Alan. Napoli want to make it to 50 million with add-ons. That's where they're at. I would snatch their hand off. But if Garnacho isn't going to go, then we've got a problem. And that leads us into the situation with Premier League clubs. Yes, he will get more wages, but with the situation that developed with Garnacho over the summer, I think that has caused us a bit of a problem as well here in trying to get rid of him. And trying to get rid of Garnacho because of the unwanted nature of the Manchester United situation that was brought up after the final of the Europa League has not helped United in trying to get what they want for him. There is positive noises coming out that there is a lot of movement for Garnacho, but it's not at Man United's price. So this is all down to the time, I think, in this transfer window that United have. I think it's going to come down to how long United have got with their targets to bring in. If they have got 50 million on the table for Garnacho right now, that is as much as getting 2 big signings done. That's getting your striker in and that's getting Mbeumo in without even blinking for Man United right now. Take the 50 million for Garnacho, put a sell-on clause in there and make sure that you get your full value for him. Do we ever feel like Garnacho is going to be a £100 million player? 50 million, take your 40% sell-on, whatever it is, earn another 15, 20 million if he does turn into that player later on, and everybody's looking at you and saying, well, you sold him when he wasn't, when you didn't even give him a chance. You didn't see the full potential of him. Well, we did, because he is going to move on from one of them clubs and go to a massive club if he does make it. So 50 million right now is where he's at. If United put a sell-on clause into that contract, into that deal as well, then United have proved right. He was 50 million now with the potential to get more. And in the future, if he is sold on to one of them bigger clubs, because he's not going to go to one of them massive clubs now, so 50 million is about right, I feel, then you get that money later down the line anyway. United will do this, and I think United will be clever with this Garnacho deal. There'll be plenty of incentives on it. And what we're talking about here is, I feel, more than anything, Manchester United getting the long-term value out of players. And that's why we started to see these transfers all have these sell-on clauses in them. Manchester United making sure that they are looked after in the future as well. I think when we're looking at everything that's happened with the outgoings, the general sort of talk, and Rich Fay said this last night as well, there is no deals close for Man United outgoings, sadly. Something that we didn't want to say. And Bumo, quickly, just on his talk as well, there was another piece that came out from Sky in terms of his transfer speculation. It's something new to him, so you have to accept it as a football player. It's just what happens. He's just generally just covered over that, so credit to him for that. Sky Sports are saying that there is a verbal agreement in place for Brian Mbeumo. That is our top story, by the way, today. If you are just joining us, everybody, welcome along. We were talking about Brian Mbeumo and the transfer window being open this week. Manchester United expected talks going ahead again today to try and finalise that a little stumbling block, which is the initial payment for Bryan Mbeumo. That was our top story this morning. Obviously, Bryan Mbeumo wishing Thomas Frank well on Sky yesterday and moving past it. Transfer talk is just something that happens and every player has to expect. That's it. And I think he's made it clear. If there was somebody else in that was going to actually beat Manchester United to this signature, the bid would have already been in and Brentford would be talking. But they're only talking to Manchester United because nobody has made a bid. So that's where we're at with it. There's nothing to worry about. There's no drama at all in this. 50 million for Garnacho isn't a bad offer, says Leo. David says, thanks to the Glazers. We aren't a club. Jim makes us worse. What about a goalkeeper? I don't think Jim makes us worse, to be honest, mate. I think right now, without Jim, we'd be, to be honest, and I'm not saying he's the saviour by any stretch. I want to give him a good few years to see if this recruitment team in place actually works for United. But without him right now, we'd just be dealing with the Glazers and their merry men again. And we've known how windows have gone in the past with them. So, yeah, I'm not going to accept that he has made us worse. Definitely not. Goalkeeping situation. Manchester United want to buy 2 goalkeepers, is the word that Rich Fay was talking about last night. Adam, best Manchester United voice on YouTube. I love that super chat. Thank you. Half Gaz over there. Thank you for that, buddy. Really appreciate that, mate. Try to be honest all of the time and try to break it down the right way and make it clear. But everyone's got their own opinion. And that's also what I like to bring in on this one. What was I talking then? Oh, God, I completely forgot where I was at then. Oh, yeah, the goalkeeping situation. Obviously, Manchester United, with the news that we brought over the weekend, Martinez is a real target for Manchester United. Ideally, Ruben Amorim wants to bring in 2 goalkeepers, a first and a second. Definitely a second coming in. So we will be bringing a goalkeeper in. The quality of which we don't know at the moment. That's the only unknown with the goalkeeping situation. Everything else is going down the road of this is definitely happening. We will be buying a goalkeeper this summer. It just depends on the quality of him and who he is. There is plenty of rumours and you can take your pick from any one of at least 10 goalkeepers this summer Man United have been linked with. It is one of them scenarios, no smoke without fire. Every journalist knows United want a new keeper. And the story of Onana at weekend and him saying he's unsure, I don't know what my future will be, alongside the story of United fully going in for Emi Martinez. I've heard nothing of anybody coming in for Andre Onana still, so I don't know how that story is going to materialise. But I do think that Man United right now are on the lookout for everything that is out there in the goalkeeping department. And we will bring a keeper in. But like we've said on previous shows, it isn't Man United's top priority. It's the other transfers, the bigger ones, that need to be done first. Super chat in from Block. Thank you again, Block. Legend. Let's be honest, we've all experienced sloppy seconds, and it's not that bad. I'd take Gyokeres in a heartbeat, even if we are his second choice. Oh, that is a statement right there on the super chats. Are any of you in agreement with Block on that? Just make it happen. Anyway, plenty of you are loving the content today. Well over 600 likes on the show while we've been live. If you haven't already and you're loving the content, please pop a like on the video, everybody. If you haven't already as well, make sure that you do subscribe to Forever United TV. We will keep you up to date with everything going on. From the small to the big breaking news. We've got every single story here in full debate mode on FUTV. Bayndare is probably an easier sell than Onana because of his wage and price. Yes, he is, Paul. And pretty certain Bayndare is a definite transfer out for Manchester United this summer. 100%. If Villa are sniffing around Garnacho, loan him out or sell him and get Martinez as part of the deal. I said this before. Even with Sancho and Villa fully in on Sancho as well, Stephen, that is a chance United have got. And I said a minute ago, like Villa will play a big part in Man United's transfer window this summer, in more ways than one. Update on Marcus Rashford. He's got himself camped out in Marbella at the moment in hope that he can get a move to Barcelona. Look, I'm not saying that he's doing it deliberately just because he wants to move to Barcelona and be ready to go with that transfer. I don't think it's going to happen for him personally. I don't know what's going to happen with Marcus Rashford is my honest answer on that, an honest opinion on that. Right now, there is nothing, absolutely nothing substantial or concrete. everything with Manchester United right now is on the incoming. It's all on Bryan Mbeumo and then the striker. And this week is all based around the Gyokeres and Bryan Mbeumo updates. Yay or nays on both of them will determine what happens with Manchester United now over these coming weeks. With Ekitike, with Gyokeres, with any other possible number 9 for Manchester United. They will buy a number 9 this summer. That is the word coming out for Manchester United. It isn't going to be a case of what we've got and make do with Cunha and Mbeumo when we get them. The 9 is definitely coming in. And again, it is going to come down to the price, the package, and what Man United can afford off the back of what Man United sell. And while these deals are good to be talking about and the potential of signing certain players, we are going to have to be patient. And this is where I think the fan base is going to struggle. Because I think once Bumo is done, I'm not saying it's not going to move forward quite quickly. I think we might have a little bit of a gap before the next signing. And that's really where the patience will be tested. Because fans want these players in. They want answers. They want Ineos. They want the Glazers to put their hand in their pockets. They can't really do that. They can only use it with what Man United have got. United are going to have to do some wheeling and dealing over this transfer window once Mbeumo is done. Garnacho is key to everything for Manchester United. He really is. But like we said before, Man United have made headroom in the financial situation. And this is why they're negotiating Mbeumo to the tiniest little detail. Because that can make all the difference in putting a deal together for Hugo Ekitike. And that price for him in terms of the PSR payments per year. That's where Manchester United are at right now with everything going on. It's on a knife edge. It really is. Adele, again, another super chat. Thank you, mate. I think that's your third one of the show. Really appreciate it, mate. Erik ten Hag spent 100 million, give or take, on Onana and Antony. He sold Verts for around 150 million and went to buy another goalkeeper. Any explanation why he doesn't want to buy his guys back? A real prat, to be honest. Yeah, Erik ten Hag, I don't even want to talk about him. He has been a major, major issue at this football club, on and off the pitch. Absolute carnage that man has caused. But look, he's gone now, and we're recovering from that mess. It's going to take a bit of time to get through that mess, and that's Man United's transfer window right now. Ant with another super chat says, Gonzalo Ramos on loan. Look at striker next year. Loan market could come in. I said John Duran on loan. That could happen. And what we're looking at here right now is if these deals for the likes of Gyokeres, Ekitike become too big, then United move on to their next targets, which could indeed be players on loan as a striker. We could go down that road. Let's see what happens. But that is it for now on this morning show, everybody. I will love you and leave you all. Thank you so much for all of your input. It's been a mega show again. Absolutely brilliant. Way over 750 likes. Please give the video a like if you've loved the show. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well, everybody. We are on the road to 85k. Less than 200 subscribers away from 85,000 now, everyone. We want 90k before the season starts. That's our target, and we are on track, everyone. Thank you again for all your support. Mods, great job in the chats there. Have a fantastic one, everyone. I will be back later on, of course, with all of your updates. Stay tuned. Make sure with that subscribe button you've got your bell notification on also, and you will be notified then of everything that is happening as I bring up the shows. For now, everyone, that is it. Have a great morning.